It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we have a fantastic special video today because we are reacting and having a discussion about a video from WeskersWidow, who is a self-proclaimed survivor main, who actually talks about the RefinedKills video that I actually had spoken about. And I wanted to give my thoughts on it because I've always been trying to look for more unique perspectives, looking for unique things as well, and just kind of see like where the community is standing at and where I'm standing at when it comes down to these topics. And this was suggested by one of you guys in the Discord community, so if you want to join the Discord community, suggest videos, or even talk with the rest of the community that can talk about many different topics even besides DVD, you can go ahead and join with the link in the description. Just go ahead and scroll down the rules, hit the knife emoji, and you can talk with the rest of us. So we're gonna dive right in. I'm interested in hearing WeskersWidow and seeing what they had to say.
Hours in the game, and I'd say 98% of that is on Survivor. I saw this video pop up by Refined, and I thought it'd be fun to react to it from the survivor's point of view. Now this is my very first ever reaction video, so go easy on me, and there's probably going to be a lot of swearing, so if you're not up for that, I'd leave now. I hope you enjoy. I'm so anxious about this, so please don't come for me.
I'm excited, honestly. I'm excited. This is kind of like Reactception now. But so just for you guys that are like, you know, hearing this, obviously 6,000 hours on 98% survivor, so that's insane, right? Like I think that's like double my hours actually. That's double mine, so I'm like, damn, dude. But that means that they have to have a lot of information about survivors, so I want to hear the perspective and just kind of see what's going on.
This video is for those who feel like the killer role in Dead by Daylight is a forgotten role, a role that requires absolutely everything from you with very little respect for doing anything. The killer role in Dead by Daylight is supposed to be the power role, the role that allows you to take the helm of a powerful killer whose survivors should think twice about belittling at every given opportunity. It is supposed to grant you the freedom and fun of having power and control over the realm. Only for 90% of the killer roster in Dead by Daylight, it's anything but that. What is...
He is absolutely right. Like, unless you're playing Nurse Kaneki, sorry. I always say his name wrong and people are like, it's Kaneki? Whatever. Okay. Unless you're playing Nurse Kaneki Blight, you're gonna really struggle in Dead by Daylight these days.
It's good.
I never thought I'd hear a survivor player actually say that, but yes. Finally, somebody at least understands what we're talking about. Like, wow, this is incredible. I honestly didn't expect that, honestly. But yeah, I mean, at least there's somebody level-headed in the DBD community that can at least share and understand where we're coming from. Mind you, this is from a survivor player themselves that are stating, yeah, if you're not playing Kaneki, Nurse, Blight, good luck. Like, good luck with that.
Gamers, it's Refined, and I am back today to talk about the current state of Dead by Daylight in regards to killer and why this is a huge problem. Oh, by the way, no, if you are an exclusive survivor main, this video will not be for you, so before you decide to try and rage bait in the comments, think about it twice.
I'm not exclusively a survivor main, I do play some killer, but I would say percentage wise, you would absolutely have to class me as a survivor main.
Which leads me on to state that yes, I do actually play both roles. My stats are public and people can see clearly. I play around 60% killer and 40% survivor, so I believe this gives me a fairer take on things. I am a P100 Wesker main, often
I do also want to offer my own information on this topic. I have had 400 hours in survivor, and I've stopped playing since, obviously, because I just don't find it very enjoyable, as I've stated previously. But as a result, I tried to actually look at other creators that on Twitch and things like that when they play Survivor. I have a lot of channel friends of the channel, I would say, that I watch live playing Survivor to get an idea of like what's the general consensus, trying to get as much information as I can to offer another perspective of where I'm at when talking about this game, because at the end of the day, you can only, your anecdotal experience is not going to give you the most amount of information.
Cited as the Vecna guy in DBD, with over 200 plus videos on him, and we are the current world record holder of 170 Vecna wins in a row as him, as well as loads of stuff for our amazing Lich. I make
That is some very impressive numbers, can I just say? Well done to you.
videos that educate and also entertain, and lately I have started to voice my opinion here and there because, as many know, DBD is not in the best place right now and arguably hasn't been for the longest time. I am going to start by saying something that, if you agree with, please consider joining us on Discord and Twitch, because you will find an immense amount of support and like-minded friends. We have one of the best communities, so you will surely be welcomed. The message is, if you love playing Killer, or have ever loved playing Killer, but in recent days you just can't play it anymore, or you cannot bring yourself to play at all, you are not alone. There is such a phenomenon as killer anxiety, a topic I have covered in recent videos, where a lot of people will load up DBD with intentions to play some killer, only to get to the main menu and stare into the abyss.
I've actually done that myself, which is, I would say it's safe to say that I've done that myself. I can recall maybe, I can't say recently, but I have done that, I would say maybe 2 or 3 times a couple months ago. And yeah, like I've done that before. I've also done was I would play one match and then just like stop playing for like maybe 10-20 minutes. I would just leave it on the lobby screen and just sit there for like 10-20 minutes. Like I wouldn't even play another match after that. I've had times where I've done that because, like, from my anecdotal experience, I've had times where I've been able to play a match and like just work my absolute ass off, like, with everything within you to fight back against it, not quit, and be able to win at the very end. Very tough matches, especially with Ghostface, and then I just sit back. I'm like, yeah, I gotta take a break. Like, it's so stressful. It doesn't even feel like you really won anything. It just feels like you were pulling teeth, basically, and you finally got it out, basically, and that's it. Like, it's like you're basically carrying a boulder up a mountain, and then you finally got it, and you're like, well, that really sucked, and I don't want to do that ever again. And that's what it's like, I think, playing Killer.
He is 100% right. There is no doubt about it. I personally have killer anxiety. The reason I play so much Survivor is because I genuinely have killer anxiety. It's hard to explain if you've never experienced it, because I know some people don't get anxiety at all. But it's pressing the ready up button and thinking, oh, fuck, what's going to happen now? And he was like, oh, well, it's just Survivor's teabag and it's just this. No, it's not. It's the thought of the people laughing at you behind the scene, knowing fine well that they're more skilled or outperk you, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's humiliating, whether it's a person on the other side of the internet or a person sat in your room making fun of you. It's the same thing. It's the same feeling.
My God. Wow. Like, that has got to be the most, I couldn't have even described it any better than that, I think, because as Wesker's Widow was like describing it, I was envisioning how I was going to explain, from my perspective, like what that experience is like. And I think that's pretty accurate to what it's like, I think, when talking about the killer anxiety, I gotta say. And yeah, no, it's pretty accurate. Like, there's going to be a lot of morons that will go around and try to like, even in, like, clown you for it and stuff like that. I've seen it before. But like, realistically, like, it can happen, and it does happen, even like to the best of us, I would say. And it's really boils down to exactly that, like, just kind of really focusing on the outcome and really, like, just try, like, I mean, I'm almost I don't even have the right words, man. I think like it's just, it accurately describes that experience. Like you're essentially, you know, you're clowned on, you're humiliated. Like you can't really bear to continue because it's like, you know, you can, and also don't forget the end game chat as well, in combination and stuff like that. It's just like, and you know, over time you do get over it. Like the more you go through it and the more that you demolish the survivors and things like that. Like I can't say that it's like stopped me from playing killer like too many times. Like I've still pushed through and still gone ahead and still played, but still, like, it does exist and it does happen, and that is the way that it's described. It's really hard for me to even, like, I'm just shocked that like somebody could put it into words. Like that's literally what it is.
Wanting to play, but fearing the worst. What is there to fear? Let's go into that point first. The killer role right now, as stated before, is a shit show of requirements. I will say, I do believe the killer role should be harder than survivor, because you're naturally the solo player who has to stop the team of survivors. However, there is a difference between a slightly harder role and an oppressive role at that. What do I mean by oppressive? Well, take these into consideration. Survivors in the Big 25 have access to a range of oppressive perks, ranging from second chances to chase extenders and ways to pick yourself up in a matter of seconds. These are oftentimes coined handholds because they require the survivor to barely commit to doing anything to get value out of their perks.
That is something that I usually end up kind of ranting about a lot of the time, because it really feels that, like, it really feels like you're really being punished for just doing your job, or being punished for just trying to play as efficiently as possible. And then, as I've even stated in previous videos, to me it's like unfair, because I've always stated that it's like rewarding bad play. These people are not getting dead hard, decisive, and off the record and things like that because they're playing well. Like, they're not being rewarded for doing a good thing or playing well. They're being rewarded for death. Like, for going down. Like, that doesn't mean like you did well, especially with who is using it are mostly the ones that have gotten down in 2 seconds, and then boom, they have this perk, and then boom, they have something else, and it's like, for what? Like, you don't need it, you're bad. And then they usually go down 2 seconds after, so like, what's the point? It doesn't make any sense, but they still have it.
The second chance perk in the game is ridiculous. You can do everything right as a killer, absolutely everything. And I've done this. I don't use second chance perks very often, if at all. Maybe off the record before it was killed. If you play killer and you're going against someone with several second chance perks, you have downed that person technically like 4 or 5 times, yet because they've got decisive strike, dead hard, there's 2 extra downs that you've had to get on that one survivor, and then they'll still teabag you at the exit gate as if you haven't already caught them 4 times. It's like, come on, use your logic.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Holy hell, like, that's literally exactly what I was thinking every time, dude. And that's even what I was just talking about. It's like you sit there and you have to like get the down again. That's decisive. You're like, all right, okay, pick up decisive. Then you go after them again because you're like, well, no one else is injured and no one else is nearby. Let me just go out after them again. And then free endurance, and you're like, okay, like what? Like, and then you gotta go after them again, and then they finally go down, but pallet, so then you gotta waste more time on that. Like, and it's devastating when you're playing a character like Ghostface, that any second chance is going to hurt pretty bad. Like, it's really hard to recover if you eat a DS. Like, it's really hard to recover if you eat a dead hard. It's really hard to recover if you're like marking somebody and they have off the record still. Like, it's so bad and it's so ridiculous.
Whereas in stark contrast, killer perks or meta killer perks always involve you needing to hit something deeper, such as getting downs and hooks. Survivors who cry about killers running 4 slowdowns are fundamentally wrong, and are simply crying because of a skill issue. A killer can only get value from slowdown if they win their chases. For example, Surge requires you to down a survivor and be within the distance of a gen to cause it to explode.
See, with the 4 slowdowns, I think it depends on the killer. If you were going against a Nurse or a Blight or a Karniki with 4 slowdowns, it's just absolutely over the top, ridiculous. They don't need it. Then it is so frustrating as Survivor. But if you were going against a Trapper with 4 slowdowns, it's a completely different story. So I think it's very killer specific to the frustration level from the Survivor as to whether it is.
Now, like, as much as I don't play any Survivor at all, I do understand where they're coming from, because I do understand the idea that's a bit overkill when it comes down to the killer selection. On the other hand, like, the slowdown is also and that's probably why it's more frustrating. It is like the slowdown objectively is more effective on the higher tier killers. Like, low tiers pretty much get 0 value, or is very low amount of value from slowdowns, like, a lot of the time, unless you're running corrupt deadlock. That pretty much the rest of it is going to be just dog shit. Like, you're pretty much not going to see much value out of any of these slowdowns. So I agree with both on this point.
Over the top to run 4 slowdown or not?
And regress. Pain Resonance requires you to win your chase, pick up and hook the survivor on a specific hook to get value, which is only used 4 times. This goes for Grim Embrace as well. Eruption only works if you kick a generator and then proceed to win a chase. These are some examples of why survivors crying helps nothing.
He's absolutely right. 1000% again. He's making some very good points. That the killer does have to earn it. No matter what the survivor says, the killer has to down you, and they have to hook you for most of these perks to work, or at least down you at the very least. Which means the killer won. But yet the killer never wins in this game.
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, oh my god. I literally, it's crazy to hear like a Survivor player that actually can agree with the points here. It's really insane. But it's so accurate, because that's literally what it is. Like, you have to get the down, and that's what's so crazy about some like biased Survivor mains that we've even spoken to in the past, is that for some reason it doesn't go through their thick skulls that like getting the down is the amount of effort that takes a lot from a lot of different character selections. And because they are so obsessed with it just being Blight or it being Nurse or whatever have you, they think, oh, well, every killer's like that. And it's like, no, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, their characters just can't do that. There's the 90% of the cast can't do that. They just can't. Like, it just makes your perk selection just super limiting. And it makes it just terrible to play the game because there's no variety.
Can also run full chase builds and end chases very quickly, but still gens can go faster than you can. This doesn't help the fact that when survivors are in comms, they can debunk your build in seconds. A lot of things with Killer require you to have an element of surprise, which a survivor who is playing with friends can destroy in nothing. Take Bamboozle for example. If a killer brings Bamboozle to block vaults after going through them, this can catch a survivor off guard and cause them to improvise quickly in the moment, leading to good pressure for the killer. If that first chase was at the start of the game, at Shack for example, and other survivors were not close enough to see Bamboozle, they wouldn't know you still have a chance at getting value from it later in the game because the other survivors will not be aware. However,
this also works with undetectable. If I'm in a Swift with at least one other person and I know the killer's undetectable, or even if I don't know the killer's undetectable and I say, oh, the killer's going to Shack, then the person at Shack on the generator knows to look out for the killer. You lose the complete element of surprise.
There you go. You heard it right there from a Survivor main, that comms completely removes all the balancing from the game. We just heard it here from a Survivor main of, I think they said 6,000 hours. So we heard it here, right? We heard it here again, just confirming that Swift on comms completely destroys the balancing of the game. Because anything you're using is immediately called out and like say goodbye to your value a lot of the time. Like if they have Surge, they're deliberately gonna jump into a locker. Like I've seen that happen before. If you are using BAM, they're just not gonna go near the windows, or they'll use it once and then leave. Go to a different area. I mean, like, you name it, dude.
If you are playing against a bunch of survivors who are communicating with each other, all it takes is for that first survivor to call out early in the game and tell the rest of the team that the killer is running bamboozle, which then makes the game way harder for the killer because now all the other survivors will know and will therefore work around this. The same cannot be said for the other side though. A killer is already thinking about everything. They are on their own. And a killer will not always know if a survivor has deliverance, for example, if they actually do have dead hard, or if they have decisive strike. Yes, there are ways you can take guesses, but sometimes it doesn't work out and that creates tension. They could even have conviction and soul guard, and even if you think about putting a tiny bit of local pressure around the downed survivor, maybe someone is hovering for a pallet or flashlight save, that survivor can surprise you very quickly and you wouldn't see it coming because you wouldn't have known. So when you think about it, survivors get to keep the element of surprise and they barely have to do anything to get value out of their perks, whereas killer has to go through hurdles just to get some value, which is very predictable to survivors and honestly, not that strong anyway. So
Yep, it's true. You can't even argue with what he's saying. Like, it's just facts. What he's saying is true. And there is a problem in Dead by Daylight where survivors literally can't see things from the other side. It's like a lack of empathy for the other side. And what they don't realise is, especially in 4-man Swift, I'm not saying every 4-man Swift, don't get me wrong, I play with my friends, I don't bully killers, I don't teabag, I don't do anything purposefully to, sorry, braces, to upset people. Unless they've done something to me first. If they're hard tunneling me and they hit me on hook and I escape, I'm going to give them a little teabag at the exit gate. But that's very, very rare. Few and far between.
So this is one part of the bigger issue, the oppressive nature of the game right now. All of this so far can contribute to killer anxiety, the fear of simply wanting to play your favorite killer, to just have to sweat your mind off and feel pulled all over the place, to see the gens go as fast as they do these days and feel like you're being mocked at all corners of the map. How are you?
I know you're going to say, oh, she's a survivor, man. No, I have a P100 Wesker. I love Wesker. I know how to hug tech. I know how to rebound. I know how to do quite a lot of stuff. But even with my knowledge of Wesker and how the game works, I still struggle to keep up with today's meta. So being a P100 or putting hours and a lot of dedication into a killer sometimes is just a joke, because survivors have a perk just to counter whatever you're doing.
I completely agree 100%. I 100% agree with that. And for those of you guys familiar with my streams or my content, you know I have multiple P100s. And if you're on stream, I have the P100 commands, you could see the list. But you guys know full well. P100 Ghostface, P100 Freddy, P100 Pyramid Head, P100 Chucky, and soon Myers. And I can tell you, like, for a fact, like, all this information that I have about these characters and all this information that I can apply is invalidated by the existence of a handful of perks, right? Because if I'm playing Chucky and I hit an endurance, well, I just got the longest cooldown on the universe and they're not down. So now I have to go 110 shuffling along trying to keep up. Or if I'm playing like even Ghostface, as you guys know, it's like what can I do? Like it's an endurance hit or like with Dead Hard or decisive or something, and I'm like, I just lose so much time that I just can't get back. And it's disgusting. Like it's really disgusting. And even Freddy, I don't really play much anymore either. At least he has a teleport. You know what I mean? At least he has something. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, it's like, why even play? Like, what do I really gain out of that? In terms of like, you know, personal enjoyment. I mean, I just try to go live for you guys that watch. You know what I mean? Like just to chat with you guys in the streams, but that's about it.
Supposed to feel like the power roll when you have survivors who can all individually make 5 mistakes each and still be okay because they are held by behavior. But if you make any more than 1 or 2 mistakes, you have already basically lost. The killer roll is unforgiving.
I had a match of 2v8, and I'll see if I can find the clip, where one flashlight save happened on me, and I literally turned to my duo and said, that's it, we've lost the game.
And that was too far.
Oh, that's just lost us the game, that has. One flashlight save. I knew from that point on we'd lost the game. Because you lose all your pressure.
Thank you. Oh my god. Oh, this is just like, it feels like we're in therapy or some shit. I don't even know. Like it's like we're finally getting confirmation that we're not goddamn crazy, right? Like, isn't that nice? Like you're not crazy. Now, the only thing that I will say in response to the clip being shown, because I'm gonna go ahead and play it again. The only thing that I would say that in response to this is the Wraith should have, like, you know, well, assuming that the Wraith would have actually known that they were there, of course. Because from about here, the Wraith should have, like, been able to stay, like, well, this is a very niche play that I think a lot of people don't even utilize. I've actually done this in the past. When I was like in 2v8, in previous 2v8s, like Hex Death can confirm this. Shout out to him, by the way. I actually, like, when he was picking up, what I would do is I would stand in front of his face while he would be like picking up the survivors, so that either they would blind me or they would blind the back of my head or something, so that he can't get blinded and he can confirm the save. And I've done that before. That's been able to at least, like, you know, prevent a lot of like plays like this from happening. There also was a time when I was playing with Fellow Machine, shout out to him as well on Twitch, back when he used to play 2v8 with me. There was a time where he kicked a blast mine almost like around, like right next to this person on the ground, and I almost picked up, and it could have blinded us both and he would have probably got the save, but thankfully I waited a second to pick up. But anyway, that's just like a minor nitpick. Obviously that's like a super niche play that I don't think anybody really uses, but I've done it because I'm just, you know, that kind of player, I guess. But I completely understand where Wesker's Widow comes from, right? Because that's literally exactly what happens. Like, a single play can completely shift the entire game in the matter of a second, because one person held down the right click, one person pressed the space bar, one person did this one thing at one random time, the game's over. It's like GG's, like, that's it. And it's insane, but that's how it is.
Point on, we'd lost the game. Because you lose all your pressure.
It's one person, something I wish behavior wouldn't stay silent on, and they are, which pisses me off and brings me to the next part of this video. Behavior. Being silent is a choice. In the past so many surveys, you have failed to give killer players a voice, an outlet, a place.
This is an absolute fucking joke behavior. The fact that you do not ask killer players why they're leaving the game. Like, what are you thinking? The whole argument of, is behavior killer-sided or survivor-sided, just went right out the fucking window. You lost any ground you had on saying, well, it's balanced, we're both, like, we're not for anyone. No, that's utter fucking bullshit. If you cannot ask the killers why they're leaving the game, I think you don't ask because you know the answer. You know fine well the killers are going to turn around and say, well, gen speeds are too fast. Survivors have their handheld too much. The pallet density is just ridiculous. Like, you don't even need skill to play Survivor in this game, and fucking yes, I said it. All you need to do is run to a pallet, pre-drop, teabag, of course. And then run to a pallet, pre-drop, teabag, of course. You know, there's no skill involved in the game. I'm not saying there's not skilled players. Of course there is. Of course there is. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of players. I have my GRM and Aaron Teddy behind me and not Starver over there. You know, I understand there is a lot of skill, but for the majority of survivors, they don't even have to be good at the game. Put on Windows of Opportunity, which is a fucking stupid perk, by the way. If you can't get any more handheld than Windows of Opportunity. I stopped running Windows of Opportunity about 2 years ago. Because you should be learning the map. If you've been in this game for X amount of hours, you should be taking off Windows and trying to learn the map and learn the spawns if you want to get better at the game. And the people that don't, just put it on because it holds their hand. See yellow, run to fucking yellow. And that's all they have to do. See yellow, run to yellow, drop pallet.
I can't believe, like, I couldn't pause because I was hearing way too much facts. from a Survivor player, by the way. They said 98% Survivor player is saying exactly what we've been saying for months and months and months, and it's incredible. And I'm here for it. It's so incredible, because it's like taking the words right out of my brain, taking the thoughts right out of my brain, and like just removing it and completely verbalizing it through a different voice. And it's insane, because it's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I was thinking. Survivor has been brain dead and continues to be brain dead with these updates, and it's ridiculous. And of course, skill does exist. Like, there are skilled players. I can agree with that. That is 100% true. But the fact of the matter is that you don't need to be. And I say this in every stream. You don't need to be good at the game. When I've even played in this game, I've said this so many times. I'm like, you don't even need to be that good. Because them pre-dropping 3 pallets and then running off somewhere else and then I can't get the down means 2 gens are gone. I can't do anything about that. Especially as Ghostface. And what's even crazier is, like, we have a Survivor player like saying this, and it's in not only that, but what's even crazier is that behavior has gone full mask off. Like I even stated, they've been Survivor sided and they continue to be. The evidence is right there. The evidence is all written out for you. It's like, what else is there for you to do? And it's just insane.
To give their frustrations and constructive criticisms. You have made this decision and you have failed a lot of players. Whenever I see behavior talk on their videos, they seem to pride themselves for being open, diverse and understanding of people. But in reality, they fail to amuse me. Because they will gladly sit by and remain silent, knowing full well there is a huge 1/3 of the player base disappointed in the decisions and the game you are giving them nothing to work with. Yes, I am speaking of the killer players. You know, the one person. Yes, there are 4 survivors to 1 killer, but without that 1 killer, the game cannot start and will not work.
I said this in my DVDs full of hypocrites video. What people don't realize is there's 1 killer to 4 survivors, and being bombarded with messages, and this goes to the killer anxiety thing, being bombarded with messages or ganged up on by 3 or 4 people in the endgame chat, even 2 people in the endgame chat, is fucking bullying. I don't care what you say, it is bullying. You are taking the one person who upset you slightly for whatever reason in a fucking video game and you are bullying them.
100% agree. 100% agree. 100% agree. That is factual. And I spoke about this in a previous video when talking about Scott Jund, who actually was condoning bullying in endgame chat as well. And that's a whole other thing. And that, I would say, really goes to show how bad the patches have been. That just kind of goes to show how bad the state of the game is when Scott Jund is batting for killers. Like that is how you know. Because he is one of the most biased towards Survivor in almost everything he ever says. And the fact of the matter is that, like, now that he's like batting for a killer and saying like how bad it's been, goes to show. Because in everything I've ever seen him do, he's constantly has just defended the survivors, despite the fact that they're actively being extremely toxic, insulting, you name it, whatever, like with the screenshots given and then and whatnot. So it just goes to show, you know, it is bullying. And I'm glad that it's been stated, because like I think that as a killer player, we just gotta, like, they just for some reason expect you to take it. Like I don't understand. Like,
although there are more survivors than killers, it is integral to have killers, otherwise the entire function of the game breaks. What survivor will enjoy buying your cosmetics when there is no match to play? You are playing with literal fire. And on another note, I hate how they are remaining silent on bullying. Of fucking course killers are being bullied.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I agree.
And I do not want to—
I agree too, alright? I agree too, yo. I agree. Hell yeah, I agree. Hell yeah, because come on, man. Like, I never really thought about it, but yeah, no, it is. It is. Like, people should not feel like anxious to click on killer. Like, that's crazy. Like, what the hell? But because of those bad apples, they ruin the bunch. They make it difficult. They make it horrendous for anybody to want to even feel like playing.
To hear how survivors get bullied when compared to killer, it feels 10 times worse. I do want to say something for the entitled survivor mains out there. Being tunneled at whatever gens will never feel as oppressive as losing a game and getting mocked throughout by everyone whilst playing killer. To then be degraded in the endgame chat, and even worse, stalked outside of the game by maniacs. We will talk about tunneling and slugging.
Yo, speaking on that about being stalked by maniacs, like I could have sworn I even seen recently with Quiet Kills, who has that going on right now, where there's a hacker, like a racist hacker, by the way, like that it has just been seeking him out in every match he tries to play, and he can't play a match, and he can't really do anything about it because of the fact that they know exactly, you know, when you go online, no matter what time, and then they will have like a group of people just ready to go to specifically harass. So it's that bad, and of course behavior does nothing.
Shortly, but right now I want to double down on behavior remaining silent. Behavior. If you have stats and info on how many times a survivor farts, or how far away killers are from hooks, or whatever else, then surely you are aware of the immense bullying killer players receive throughout matches, and especially in the endgame screen.
They're aware, they just don't care, because the 4 to the 1 buy the cosmetics.
I 100% agree with that as well. It's been extremely evident. It's been extremely prevalent, and we've seen this time and time again. It's just been proven and proven and proven. And I predicted this. It's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy, man. I feel like Thanos, you know what I mean? They called me a madman, and here we are, right? Here we are. You couldn't live with your own failure, and where does it bring you, right? Back to me. Like, come on now. This is just insane, bro. But that's going to be the end of the video. If you want to watch the original video, it'll be linked in the description, and you can listen to the rest of WeskersWidow. And even furthermore, you could probably even listen to you know, RefinedKills. I even spoke about RefinedKills video on my own, which I'll link at the end as well. Consider supporting the channel with the links, and becoming a Patreon member or a YouTube member, so you have access to exclusive content and support me directly. And you can also get your name right off the end of every video. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Well, I wanted to go ahead and take some time out to thank all my members from Patreon with Crow King 101, my YouTube members, Majora Jeff, Endire, Evil Peachy YT, Zero Mocker, Christian, Hexdev, and Crow Vader, and for my Twitch subscribers, Cake is the Road, Danica 2002, Final Girl _ Bunny, Acklefin, Chili Cinderace, Zero Mocker, Ginsburg, Johns 117 _ Lovely Ghost TTV, Jar TTV, Zazaboo, and Crow Vader. Just wanted to thank you guys. And if you also want to have your name read off at the end of every video, make sure you join on one of these platforms to get one of those perks, as well as the other perks you get. So appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.